We have listened to the first reading taken from the book of Wisdom, and listening to it, we find it a little difficult to connect with the theme of today. The Wisdom book is bringing to our mind the role that God played to help out the people of Israel at a critical moment when they found that their life was very, very difficult, especially referring to the experience they had in the land of Egypt. The Lord breaks the power of the strong and assists the poor, the faithful, the people of Israel. And that is what it is made. That is God's presence is there. Sometimes we may not even see, but surely God's hand is always with us. And second reading from the letter to the Hebrews, we are given to understand the depth of Abraham's faith. Abraham, I asked the children this morning at Malki, to which group did Abraham belong to? Was he a Catholic? Abraham? Was he a Christian? Was he a Jew? He was not even a Jew. He was from among the pagans of the time, those who had their own worship, their own faith in whatever God they believed in. And it's from there that God goes and calls out. And Abraham certainly was not known to God. God, of course, might have known, but Abraham certainly didn't have any experience with God. And God goes and calls him, Abraham, come out. I'm going to take you a land which I'm going to give to you and to your posterity. And I am going to multiply your posterity like the sand on the seashore and the stars in the sky. And I asked the children, you are coming out from the school and some stranger comes and calls you, come, we will go, I'll reach you home. Will you go? We will not go, and you should not go. But in the case of Abraham, it was different. Abraham had already known it is some divine intervention that was taking place in his life. And the faith of that man, someone who had not been known to him, someone whose power was not yet proven, and he dares to come out, leaving everything. He leaves his tribe, he leaves his wealth, he leaves his land, and he comes out with his cousin Lot. And then he goes. And he continues to trust in God who was leading him on. That's a wonderful thing. And it was at this moment, or when things were slowly taking shape, and Abraham had already one son, and that also at a late age. And God is asking him, now Abraham, take your son and sacrifice him on Mount Moriah. I'm sure most of us would have, Lord, don't ask this. You ask me anything else, because he had made a promise. I'm going to make your posterity like the stars in the sky or sand in the shore of the sea. But Abraham did not question Yahweh, but he didn't even speak about it at home. He takes Isaac and goes to Mount Moriah with the wood, with the fire and the knife, but without telling anyone. And he was prepared to make this sacrifice. This is the faith of Abraham. And no wonder Abraham is known or called the father of our faith. And in the Eucharistic prayer, we have this very clearly, Abraham, our father in faith. Without knowing anything about God, Without having received any proof, he trusts in Yahweh, he trusts in God, and that's the reason why perhaps God called him. He was a man who could trust. He was a man who could stand together, and God blesses him. And indeed, the whole history of the people of Israel is opening, unraveling through the faith of Abraham. That faith made him strong, and through his faith, the people, the Israelites, were born. And we thank God. And we have in the Gospel of St. Luke, where Jesus is offering a challenge, offering a possibility. First, the Lord is speaking about, Jesus said to his disciples, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." What God has in mind for us is to give us the kingdom. He's not stingy, and he doesn't hate us. His only plan is to give us the kingdom. Only it's we who differ from the opinion or from the offer of God himself. We move out of this offer. And then Jesus is giving us a parable, the parable of the marriage feast, where the king or the master is going out on a marriage feast and coming late. And one thing he tells his disciples, his listeners, the people of his time, happy are those servants whom the Lord finds prepared, ready, when the master comes. It may be at the second hour of the night. It may be at the third hour of the night. But blessed are those servants whom the Lord finds waiting. And that's what we are supposed to be. No matter what we are doing, no matter what call we have received, what is needed is that we are waiting. With whatever job is assigned to us, whatever position is assigned to us, whatever is given to us, we are ready for the Lord to come. And that's where we will find ourselves to be prepared to answer the call of Yahweh. This death, Jesus says, is like a thief. God comes without our knowledge. We will not be able to say when the Lord is going to call us. I remember when I was in Guwahati, we had one brother, elderly brother. His name was Venantius. Quite elderly, a little sick. But he was quite able to go around and do whatever is needed, go for his meals. But only hard work he could not do. He was there. So one day, after the breakfast, he went to the reading room. He sat down on a chair, took the newspaper. And then there were others also who were sitting and reading with him. And after some time, others, one by one, they moved off to their works. But he continued reading. But about an hour and a half later, someone said, "Where is Brother Venantius? We have not seen him." And when they went to look for him, he was sitting on the chair with a newspaper in his hand and slightly fallen, but the Lord had called him at that moment. So we do not know when the Lord is coming, but the Lord is asking us to be prepared. And we should be found prepared to meet the Lord at that time. So we don't have to worry about whether I am doing this work or that work. Don Bosco once asked his boys, he used to have a lot of boys around in the playground. He asked one funny question. Suppose you are going to die right now, what will you do? Now some are already getting frightened. We will not die now, I think, but I'm not sure. And one said, I will run home and sit in the lap of my mother. Convenient, safe, protected mother. Another said, no, I will run to the church and sit there. And then another said, I will go for a confession immediately. And Don Bosco asked a fourth one. I said, I will carry on playing. He was playing marbles. I will carry on playing marbles. That is, God calls us And we should not be bothered about whether we are going to be here or going to be there, or we are not in a position, our conscience is not sure of what's going to happen to us. That's why we should be always prepared for the return of the Master after the wedding feast. So don't put off things. And so we can continue doing whatever we are doing. If I am praying, I continue praying. If I am sleeping, I continue sleeping. I am reading a newspaper, I continue reading the newspaper. But the Lord comes and we are prepared. Fantastic, beautiful. And that's what we all want. That we should be prepared for the Lord to come. And this is the invitation and this is the teaching the Lord Jesus is giving us today. Be prepared when the Lord is coming. And that will be our happiest moment and a sure way of fulfilling our Christian calling.